Hello from the city of Merida in Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula. I'm here on the main plaza where people are milling about on a typical warm afternoon. Merida is one of my favorite cities in Mexico, and I'm looking forward to showing you some of the highlights. We'll also be visiting Uxmal, the ruins that are relatively nearby and which, in my humble opinion, are more impressive than those at Chichen Itza, which you may recall from a previous video. And we may even be able to go to the nearest beach, which is less than an hour away. So let's get started. There were three Spanish conquistadors named Francisco de Montejo. One was the lieutenant, another was the nephew, and the third was the boy. It was Francisco de Montejo, el mozo, the boy, who founded Merida in 1542 and named it for the city in western Spain. Merida was originally a walled city, and several of its gates still stand today. Some of them in some pretty nondescript places, ignored and easy to overlook, like this one. From about 1880 until just before the First World War, Merida prospered from the production of sisal, or henequen, the fiber extracted from the henequen plant for use in ship's ropes and agricultural bindings. In fact, there was a time when, for its size, Merida had one of the largest concentrations of millionaires in the world. The result of that so-called golden age is where I'm walking, the Paseo de Montejo, a wide boulevard of stately mansions that hint at Merida's past glory. Of all the houses on this wonderful boulevard, two are especially worth mentioning. That's because they're the only two that are still in private hands. They're collectively referred to as the twins because they sit side by side. One is of French design, the other is of Spanish design. Over the years, their owners have hosted artists, writers, politicians, and such people as Princess Grace and Prince Rainier of Monaco and U.S. First Lady Jackie Kennedy. Today, the Paseo bridges the gap between Merida's central historic core and its modern suburbs. And on Sunday mornings, it's transformed into a bicycle and pedestrian haven. The atmosphere here is laid back among the breakfast crowd. Whatever else you can say about it, the Paseo is a Sunday brunch kind of place. Of course, Merida's heartbeat is at its center, where the 16th century cathedral overlooks the Zócalo.
Hay amarillo, verde, naranja, y está la bola de flechas. Fácil de jugar, amiga, no corta, no lastima. I'm sitting in one of Merida's famous you and me chairs. The design was said to have been concocted as a way to let young lovers be close, but not too close. So leave it to some overly ambitious bureaucrat to make romance even tougher during the pandemic. Let me introduce you to my girlfriend. Good street food is never far away. A waffle, a banana, some cheddar, rolled up in Nutella on a griddle, and you've got Yucatecan sweetness. Meanwhile, down the street, a sweet moment.
Te ves preciosa. Gracias. No, pero ¿cómo no ves? En la tercera.
I'm here on Calle 60 in the middle of the historic district, and as you can see, the traffic has been cordoned off and the eateries have moved into the streets. It's called the Heart of Merida Festival, but don't mistake it for a special event. It's just the way things roll here on weekends. My time in Merida is comfortably spent at the Hotel Torralba Inn, 4 blocks off the Zocalo. Where the price of a spacious room comes with breakfast in a pleasant patio. This morning, I'm headed by bus through the green Yucatecan countryside to Uxmal, an hour south of the city. And, by the way, so are a lot of others. So there's no messing around here. When you pay your ticket to enter Uxmal, this is the first thing you see. That's the Pyramid of the Magician, the central structure of this UNESCO World Heritage Site.
I'm here in the magnificent so-called Nunnery Quadrangle, which was built between 900 and 1000 CE. It got its name from 16th century Spaniards because it reminded them of a convent. But it was actually 4 palaces on different levels opening up into this magnificent courtyard. The lower rooms of these palaces are still quite easily explored. There's not much that you can see inside the floors, and the ceilings, as I try to point up to them, bear burn marks of indeterminate time. And over in the corner of this space, if I look down, I see what appears to be an old heat source. It looks like a pile of rocks, but it most likely was used as a place to maintain a fire. I suppose after a while in this heat, even among iguanas, lethargy sets in. You know, I suppose it's a good thing, but I have noticed on this trip to Mexico how at so many of the archaeological sites, portions of the sites have been roped off as never before. It used to be you could walk up these steps behind me, walk inside these structures, in and out, a constant flow of people. And now what you're greeted with in most places is this, a rope line. I don't know, maybe that began as part of a rethink during the pandemic, when many of these sites, as well as natural places, started to have a chance to breathe again from the constant pounding they take from visitors. But it is more restrictive, there's no doubt about that. I'm momentarily alone in the ball court. Breeze is blowing through. It's a much smaller ball court than the one we saw at Chichen Itza. Uxmal is about 60 kilometers south of Merida in an area called the Puc. It's a band of narrow hills that happens to be filled with some remarkable archaeological sites. When you hear the expression route the Puc, it means hill's route, but the reference is almost always to these archaeological wonders, the best known of which being Uxmal. What's so fascinating about Uxmal is the incredible condition many of these ceremonial buildings are in. In the typical Puc style of Mayan architecture, they were built with well-cut stones set into a core of concrete that didn't require plaster to hold them together. Even before restoration work, Uxmal was in better shape than many of the other Mayan ruins in the Yucatan. But there's another reason these structures are in such good condition. Unlike many locations, the Spaniards didn't level the place and put up a town here. Instead, Uxmal shrank back into the jungle, forgotten for centuries. When adventurers John Lloyd Stephens and Frederick Catherwood hacked their way here in the 1800s, They were both enthralled and humbled. Maya chronicles say that Uxmal was founded in about 500 CE, and for much of its early history, it was ruled over by the same family. Most of the incredible structures you see here were built between about 850 and 925 CE. And of course, when the rival Toltecs took over in about 1000, construction more or less stopped. As well known as Uxmal has become, and with such tremendous structures uncovered here, one might assume that a great deal of archaeological work has been done. And there has been to some extent, but surprisingly, not nearly as much intensive work has been done at Uxmal as in other prominent Mexican archaeological zones. In this jungle around me, there's so much left to be done in the way of exploration, new mysteries to be solved.
In Merida, a good start point for learning about Yucatan's archaeological riches is the Grand Museum of the Mayan World, or Mundo Maya for short.
Your eyes aren't deceiving you. I'm standing outside a Costco store, the US-based warehouse shopping chain in the northern suburbs of Merida. Merida has a large and growing expat population, but that's not why I'm here. Instead, I want to show you something that you'll never see in a parking lot anywhere else. That's right, a cenote. There's this thing about living in Merida that you should know, and that is when you're in the mood to go someplace close on a whim, or maybe just to cool off, you come here to Progreso. Progreso is a place I've always liked, but have had trouble justifying why. There are no high-rise hotels here. There are no overpriced beach bars or really any trendy clubs. There aren't hucksters everywhere selling tours to places people could easily go for themselves. And then it dawned on me, yeah, that's why I like this place.
Sí, en la hora de la leche.
This brings me to a rather bittersweet end to this series of videos from Mexico. I appreciate those of you who placed likes on the video, and of course those who've subscribed, because those things are necessary if the channel is to grow and I can continue to create content that I hope you appreciate. As for the next video, where will I be? Just let me say that I hope to see you soon from a place I've never been before and is on the other side of the world from Mexico. Until then, thanks for traveling with me. Ciao and peace.
Gonna stay in this moment, gonna lay here on the grass. I don't need to feel lonely, I am finally home at last. And I don't mind being gone on adventures for a while. No, no. 'Cause the best thing about it is I know I'm coming back. Oh, oh. Of all the magic places in the world I've been to, this is where my heart is. Oh, you know it's true. No matter where I go, I'm coming home to you. Been walking down the street so many times, my feet know every brick and stone. Could wear a blindfold, no matter what I do, I'm coming home to you. And I don't know why, don't know why, don't know why, I'm always feeling homesick. Oh, all I know, all I know, all I know is this is where my heart is. Oh, of all the magic places in the world I've been to, this is where my heart is. Oh, you know it's true. No matter where I go, I'm coming home to you.